Hey guys, Dan from Retro Renos. Today we picked up a 13-foot Scamp. It's in rough condition. So we're gonna go over a few things to check before you hit the road or purchase an old Scamp. So the first place we're going to start is this back window. So this back window is, you can see, is obviously very much roached and dry rotted. The last owner or the owner before probably put some caulking around to try and save some of the leaking. You can see here we have a hole completely all the way through, and that will make sure that we know that it is going to be leaking inside of the camper. With that vision, we are going to look under the camper, right down below, and you're going to look right under here on all that wood and put your hand there, poke it around with a screwdriver, and see if we can see any type of rot. All right, we're under the camper and right under the window. Let's take a look. Oh, what do we find? Rotted wood. This is where they're very much found, is back here. And then if the camper was probably sitting unlevel, it would probably even go over to this corner. This corner looks good. But it was not. It was level to this corner, and you can see it's pretty rotted over there. So this will be a repair. Someone duct taped it. Sometimes duct tape works. It looks pretty good. And then also with it sitting over there, you can see that this piece of metal right there has a little bit of Swiss cheese to it. Now, the rest of the frame looks pretty good, but while you're under here looking at any of the floorboard and poking around, you want to go ahead and make sure that all the frame looks good. So take a screwdriver, poke around to all of the metal, everywhere you see if any of it falls apart easily, and if it doesn't, then you're in the green, and if it starts falling apart, well, you might want to walk away. All right, so now that we've seen the back of the trailer, let's go ahead and look at the front of the trailer. Right here, you want to make sure that on both sides of the tongue on the frame are not Swiss cheesy. That's where you're going to see a lot of them fall apart, and one of the weak spots of a lot of them. Oh, we have another window here. It looks like it's in pretty good condition, but we'll go ahead and take a look under the camper to make sure that any of the wood is not rotted on the front as well. So here we are under the camper. You can see there's a lot of surface rust. It's all good, it's solid. And the wood looks like it's in good condition. It's really old, probably needs to be replaced eventually. And, but for the most part, wood does not look rotted up here. It looks good, and the frame looks good too. So we'll continue on with our checks. Now, a lot of people ask the question, how do I know if my axle is good? One of the ones I know that the axle has to be replaced eventually is when the body, right here, is covering the rim. So in this case, yes, this is gonna need a new axle eventually. Probably pretty soon. So the body is covering the rim. That makes it very hard to take this tire off. So if you're on the side of the road or side of the highway, it's going to be really, really hard to get that tire off unless you jack up this camper really high if you have to replace it. Before we left Gainesville today, I stopped at a tire shop, got all 3 new tires, even a new spare. We wanted to make sure that I didn't have any blowout because all the tires were dry rotted. It's another thing that you want to check while you're there is making sure none of the tires are dry rotted. And if they are, either you need to get a discount or you need to go get them replaced right away after you get them, especially if you have to take this camper on a long journey back home. All right, so now that we're inside the camper, we want to take a look at this window in the back again. We see it, we see if there's any drip marks. You can also kind of tell sometimes on the wall if there's any drip marks. You can see here, so there's going to be a little bit of paint discoloration. That's a sign that these windows are leaking. Either way, if you're ever going to do a restoration, you want to make sure you take away those windows. You can see that on this one, our bunk is not connected. He was trying to do some work, probably mid-project, gave up on it. But what you want to do is, again, take a screwdriver, poke around on the floor down in there. You want to take a stand up, jump around. Right down here, same thing. We want to make sure that all of this is nice and solid. If you see any soft spots, it is a cause for concern. And then, again, over here in the front, always fun. We're going to take a look at our skylight, and so making sure that that thing is ready to go. This has a lot of give inside the roof, almost more than I feel like I'm comfortable with. You can see that this guy is here. I don't know why they did that, but probably for this reason right here, and we'll go ahead and try and tackle that with better fiberglass and a little more fiberglass repair. Old skylight, but it works great, and we want to make sure this thing's not leaking. Again, we want to look for any kind of concern, and then down below. So a few things to bring with you. You're going to see that most of the Scamps, if they're older models, they're not going to have lights or working lights. I bought these lights from Harbor Freight. Luckily, this guy had some already on here because he knew his lights didn't work, but I had the same exact lights from Harbor Freight. They magnetize to the bumper. You can run it all the way back up to your truck, and you can have lights on the way home, so you're safe to go. You want to make sure this coupler lock is good to go and not having any problems. I always bring bearing buddies with me and grease the wheels before any trip that I take. I don't trust anyone that tells me they just greased them. I'll just grease them myself with a couple more pumps. That way it's good to go. Always make sure you have a spare tire. If you don't have a spare tire, stop and get one. That's just basic knowledge there. And then, you know, for the most part, you want to make sure that your Scamp is ready to hit the road right away.